What's up, YouTube? I know you guys missed me. Haven't really been making any kind of like updates just because, based on my last couple videos, I was pretty adamant about just kind of like clocking out whenever it just kind of comes to like the price action of Bitcoin, right? Like, the last trade I basically opened was shorting Bitcoin and longing oil. I think today you guys see why. It's just like it's a never-ending cycle in my opinion, and I just kind of want to give you guys what I think is going to kind of play out because obviously with the whole like announcement yesterday that Trump made, he basically said that this whole like war escalation between Iran and the United States is going to go on for another 2 to 3 weeks, and then he kind of referenced like all these like multi-year long sort of issues that we've had, or like conflicts, I guess you can say, or like wars that we've had. So I think like at the very like best case scenario, I think that it's like 3 weeks. I think realistically it's going to be a lot longer than that. And that's obviously going to translate to higher prices of oil, in my opinion. I think that the conflict is going to continue to kind of just progress, right? I don't think that the United States is as successful as they're making it out to be. I think that the prices of the markets and oil are very indicative of this, especially because we have the whole like administration when it comes to like Iran. They've basically said that they haven't conducted any sort of peace talks with the United States. And obviously the United States, they control a lot of the narrative, right? And so, when you have a country that has like no power right now, they're not really able to basically communicate anything that's really going on. It's really hard to kind of tell, right? And this is not to get political, it's just being kind of objective to the situation. I just don't think that it's as successful as the United States is lighting on, and that is understandably crashing the prices of basically the whole economies, right? Because obviously there was like some bullish news that came out about 2 days ago, which caused the stock market to go up, I think like a record amount, right? I think it went up had like a 5% like swing with the S&P or whatever the case may be. But then obviously that's been retraced because of the whole announcement yesterday, right? And obviously it's very frustrating. That's why I kind of said like I'm taking a step back from just like watching Bitcoin, all that kind of stuff. Like obviously I still like swing trade, right? Because it's what I do. It's fun. It's something that I can manage with my emotions. Like obviously I know the most that I can potentially lose from that. And, obviously I've been also buying spot positions, right? So I like to hedge against those kind of positions. But also like prioritize different things, right? I've shared with you guys, like I'm looking into like AI stuff, building, applications, websites, things of that nature to kind of keep myself busy and just focus on different things, right? Because I think that we're going to have a lot of time whenever it comes to buying, risk on assets. And I do think that right now, like obviously Bitcoin's, I think around what, $67,000, 66, something like that. Not a bad time to be buying in my personal opinion, like obviously not financial advice, but there's obviously a highly likelihood that we're going to go lower. And that means a lot more lower prices for different kind of like altcoins, right? And obviously Solana, unfortunately suffered a exploit on one of their decentralized perpetual exchanges, right? Which is Drift. Wasn't anything that had to do with like the code of Solana or like the network of Solana. To my understanding, it was basically like a social engineering kind of thing that took a lot of time to kind of play out. And there's just a lot of speculation as to like what's going on with that. How come Circle didn't really kind of intervene and do anything? That was unfortunate. Obviously I've been really bullish on Solana, still am, but I think that put a big, black eye on the whole like DeFi sort of narrative, because obviously retail, like they don't really understand crypto, right? And so they're just gonna read like, oh, DeFi platform hacked for $200 million. Not understanding that this was like not due to the technology or, anything other than just like social engineering. So that is very unfortunate. Hate to see that. And yeah, I hope that somehow they resolve this and at least like the users get some of their money back. We'll see how that plays out, right? So